On the 20th of January, Trump was joined by some of the richest people on Earth at his second inauguration. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg in particular had never been richer than they were in that moment. The most money on the planet, and now even more power. But they're joined by Google co-founder Sergey Brin and France's richest man Bernard Arnault as inauguration attendees who have since lost a combined $209 billion. The period of time between Trump getting elected and being sworn in was a great time for the billionaire class, with the S&P index, a stock market index tracking the stock performance of 500 of the largest companies listed on the stock exchange in the United States, hit several all-time highs. Rich people were piling their money into crypto markets, under the expectation that Trump's policies would be beneficial to business. This is not what happened. So how did they lose so much money? Which companies are affected the most, and will this loss of wealth change anything? To start, how were things going at first for these guys? Pretty bloody well, actually. In January alone, the world's wealthiest saw their collective net worth go up by $314 billion, which is roughly equivalent to the annual salary of 15 million workers. Let that sink in. In the weeks after the election, Tesla gained 98%, hitting a record high. Meta Platforms gained 9% before the start of Trump's new term, and an additional 20% in his first 4 weeks in office. Another billionaire who showed up to the inauguration is France's richest man, Bernard, who was the CEO of LVMH, whose portfolio includes a slew of luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Celine, Kenzo, Bulgari, Fendi, and so many more. And fun fact, Bernard's son Frederick is the rumored boyfriend of Lisa from Blackpink. Anyway, Bernard's LVMH added 7% in the week before Inauguration Day, making him $12 billion richer. Trump's return to the White House and all his campaign promises to lower taxes and cut regulations made a lot of people think that 2025 would be a really great year for the billionaire class. But you know, in the wake of new tariffs, market volatility, and growing concerns over a recession, the US economy is pretty uncertain right now. And it's not just affecting us in our day-to-day lives, it's hitting the billionaires now too. Let's have a gaze at who lost what and why. Elon Musk is down $148 billion. Tesla stocks nearly doubled after the election, but now the electric car maker has lost all of those gains. European consumers are no longer keen on buying a car made by a far-right crazy guy, and sales in Germany have fallen by more than 70% since the start of the year. I can't imagine why. Chinese shipments also fell by a whopping 49% last month to levels not seen since 2022. Ouch. The company has now lost more than half its value since peaking on December 17th, a slump that has wiped out about $800 billion in market cap. These losses can be attributed to a couple of things, the obvious being Elon Musk's behavior. The brand is seen as divisive, and many people don't want to support or give money to the guy who's firing everybody and just being kind of generally unhinged. Very much a fuck around and find out sort of situation. Activists, as well as former Musk fans, have protested at Tesla facilities, as well as people targeting Cybertrucks and Teslas for vandalism. Ben Cullo, an analyst at Baird, told CNBC, "When people's cars are in jeopardy of being keyed or set on fire out there, even people who support Musk or are indifferent to Musk might think twice about buying a Tesla." Another reason is his friend Trump's tariff obsession. Canada and Mexico are key markets for automotive suppliers, and increased tariffs with the potential of a trade war will likely affect production and lead to higher prices. Jeff Bezos is also down bad, but not as bad as Elon, losing $29 billion. Jeff has been cozying up to the president for a while. Amazon donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund in December. And on the same day that he had dinner with Trump, he announced that his newspaper, The Washington Post, would prioritize personal liberties and free markets in its opinion section. Hey Google, can you define propaganda, please? Amazon shares have fallen 14% since January 17th. But why? Just like all the other billionaires on the list today, there are a few reasons. When it comes to Amazon, one culprit behind the loss loss is Amazon.com Inc. fell short of expected revenue in the first quarter of 2025. Amazon made $187 billion in revenue, which is pretty good, but their sales forecast for quarter one of 2025 was lower than what Wall Street expected. They predicted between $151 billion and $155.5 billion, while analysts were hoping for $158.5 billion. On top of that, there's worry about their $100 billion spending plan for AWS and AI in 2025, up from $83 billion in 2024, plus a $2.1 billion hit from foreign exchange rates. All of this has left investors feeling uneasy. Next on the list is Sergey Brin, who's down $22 billion. Sergey co-founded the company then known as Google with Larry Page, and currently still retains a 6% stake. He was the president of Google's parent company Alphabet Inc. until stepping down from the role on December 3, 2019. But he and Page remain at Alphabet as co-founders, controlling shareholders and board members. In February, Alphabet's shares dropped more than 7% after it missed quarterly revenue estimates. AI is also a big reason behind the drop. The company said it's going to prioritize expensive AI investments, fearing falling behind competitors, which has unsettled investors looking for a clearer route to AI-driven products, much like what happened with Amazon. Another little issue is the somewhat unexpected success of China's DeepSeek low-cost AI model, which has raised questions about American big tech multi-billion-dollar AI development spending. One note about Sergey before we move on. He actually protested against Donald Trump's immigration policies in 2017. But after Trump's win in November, the two went out to dinner, and I guess they're friends now. Alphabet is currently facing legal pressure from the Justice Department to break up its search engine company. But the company has very kindly asked the government to take a less aggressive stance. Watch this space. Next on the biggest losers list is none other than the Zuck, who is down $5 billion. Meta was actually killing it recently, rising 19% from mid-January to mid-February. But since then, the stock has lost all of those gains, dropping 20% since its high in mid-December. Meta is also dealing with a new challenge in the AI space because of Manus, an AI assistant created by a Chinese startup. This adds more competition to the AI assistant market, which already includes Meta's AI, OpenAI's ChatGPT, xAI's Grok, DeepSeek, Google's Gemini, Perplexity, and others. Why can't we just name them like Sharon or something? Why one gotta be called Grok? Like, just... Anyway, Wall Street analysts are starting to evaluate how this growing competition will affect the big AI investments from Meta and other tech companies. And the whole thing is, again, spooking investors. The drop here is part of a bigger market sell-off, which was triggered by Donald Trump's comments about a possible recession. Fears of a recession have been putting pressure on the market recently, especially affecting the big tech stocks that have held the S&P 500 rise over the past 2 years. French billionaire Bernard Arnault is down $5 billion. And I apologize, I'm very bad at pronouncing French. I'm really trying. Bernard's family owns basically every luxury brand and Sephora under LVMH. Much like the other bros on our list today, LVMH was doing good earlier this year. After declining most of 2024, LVMH jumped more than 20% in the period between the election and late January, but it has since given up most of those gains. LVMH's stock is dropping primarily because demand for luxury goods, especially in China, has slowed down. The economy there is weaker right now, so people are spending less on expensive items like Louis Vuitton bags and Dior clothes. On top of that, there are worries about the global economy, and some luxury buyers might be more sensitive to prices right now. Basically, we're all broke, so we aren't running out to get a Louis bag when eggs are like $1,000 per egg. So now that we've run down on who's losing what, let's talk about it. What are the implications here? Is it Trump's fault? What's the vibe? Adam Cresafulli, a stock market analyst, said, "The drivers of the weakness are the same that have been weighing on sentiment since the middle of February. Concerns about slowing growth, a destructive pro-tariff agenda by Trump, coupled with a high economic/financial pain threshold among the White House officials, and elevated valuations." During President Trump's address to Congress, he did acknowledge a disturbance in the economy, saying, "Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again. And it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. A lot of these stock price falls are directly related to fears a global trade war will smash corporate profits, hit living standards, drive up prices, and tip the US into recession. In basic terms, we're all losing money, not just the billionaires. Their loss is essentially scaled to ours, and it's created a mood shift for investors. To wrap up our quick biggest losers update, the 2025 inauguration may have looked like the start of a new era for the billionaire class, one with more overt power than we've ever seen before. But trusting in Trump's policies has had its consequences, particularly his pro-tariff agenda, which has led to market volatility and growing fears of a global recession, impacting even the wealthiest of individuals. As these moguls wrestle with falling stock prices in uncertain markets, it's becoming increasingly clear that no amount of wealth can shield anyone from the turbulence of a strained global economy, even if the president is your friend. The significant wealth loss serves as a stark reminder that economic shifts ripple through all levels of society, especially when market dynamics, political decisions, and global factors collide in ways no one can fully predict. I think the billionaires will be fine. I mean, even though they're taking some fat losses, they're still billionaires, so I don't feel bad for them, you know. Will this financial shakeup bring about any meaningful change, or will the billionaire class simply adapt and thrive while we all suffer the day-to-day consequences of a global trade war? Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. We do 5 videos a week on everything happening around the world, everything happening around the internet, anything you want to know. All right, these billionaires, they're still rich. I mean, we could talk about my financial losses. I had to go to Sephora the other week. Speaking of Sephora, I'm financially crippled for years. You know, no one's making a video about that. No one's worried about me. Anyway, see you tomorrow.